Welcome to the NoteSpire Music Artist Insight Podcast, giving you a unique insight into the music and ministries of independent Christian artists. Here's your host, Paul Gibbs.
Thank you very much, Bob. Welcome, everyone, to the Artist Insight. I got the pleasure. Oh, it's an honor. And he's a fellow Pennsylvanian. We got Gary Pratt on the other end of the line from the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. Gary, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you. So, hey, thanks for being with us today. And so you're in Pittsburgh, and have you lived there all your life, or are you a transplant from somewhere else?
Yeah, actually, I grew up in a small coal mining town, probably about 40 miles east of Pittsburgh. And I actually live in a town that's actually still about 40 miles away from Pittsburgh. It's called Greensburg. It's it's a small town. It's not a small town, but it's a pretty cool little place. And I've been living out in this area for all my life, but I did live in Nashville for about a year, and after college, and lived in Pittsburgh during college. But I'm sort of have my feet planted here now.
Yeah. So you grew up there where you are?
Yep. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's special, and some of us do that. We grow up and live where we grew up in our hometowns, and others, just head out when they graduate high school. They get out of Dodge, so to speak, and never look back. I've sort of traveled some and know what's out there. I know when I moved from this little coal mining town, which is called Slickville. And I'm a slicker. And went to college downtown Pittsburgh. It was like culture shock to me. I bet it was.
And but and then I lived in Nashville. That was pretty cool too, because Pittsburgh's about the size of Nashville, I would say. And so that was nice. And then I moved back to this area, and it was sort of a culture shock coming back, too, because it's a little bit, different than being in a big city.
Yeah, that big pond, small pond thing, right?
I'm content now. Took a while.
Yeah, I hear that. So, you hear, and I've talked to so many artists that, they've moved from a small town. I just talked to a gal within the last 4 or 5 months who went to Nashville and is still there, trying to make it. And others, they just say, okay, this is not what it's all about. So they kind of go back to the small town thing. But
I had to go where I could get a real job.
I was just going to ask you that, Gary. Is music, and for a few of us, music is the full-time gig, but for more of us, it's just not. How about you?
You know what? It's not. I have my own business in the Pittsburgh area. It's a floral and retail business, but it's like number one. I've got different awards for it and everything. But if it wasn't for this business, I probably wouldn't have been doing music like I am, because it takes money to.
That's right.
To get everything out there and get things recorded and all that. So this shop. Actually, I'm at the shop right now. It's been a blessing, and the way that it came about too. It was like I never thought I'd be doing this, but it just sort of happened, and God made it happen. So,
amen.
Everything from buying the building to, just I started. Actually, what happened was I had a really good job, and a company came in and bought that company out and was downsizing. And so I lost my job, and I thought it was one of the worst things that could ever happen. But actually it was the best thing, because I just started delivering flowers for a local little place here in town.
Okay.
And a year later, I ended up opening my own business and ended up buying a building downtown that was up for foreclosure. And it's a long story, but I tell you what, God had his hands in the whole thing. And so with having this shop, it's what really funded my music to get it started and get the album out there. Yeah, a couple albums, but this album and really, it's really been a blessing. So I keep busy. That's for sure. I don't have too much time to play.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's very noteworthy, so to speak, that, a lot of artists just say, okay, I'm not going to do anything but music. I'm just going to do this until I make a living at it. But other people like you, and myself too. I'm a real estate appraiser, So
okay.
And so we have the day jobs, and you're right, Gary. It's the same thing for me as an artist, as a partner in NoteSpire Music. The day job is what funds all of this. So yeah. So where did it all? Go ahead.
And it's nice that I have this business, because if I do have to go out of town, I can take that time and go. And I sort of plan everything, together, so there's no real conflicts, but that's a blessing too. So it all works out.
And you're the boss, right? So you can put in for time off, and you usually get it. I do anyway. Well, I had a cat. She was the boss, and whenever I would ask her, she would just look at me and yawn. I figured that was okay, but but she's passed on, so now it's just up to me. So if I want to take some time off and
make your own decisions now.
Exactly. Anyway, so so why don't we jump into one of your songs here? We're going to feature like 3 of Gary's songs, friends, on this in this interview. So please do stay with us, or if you need to come back, have to stop and pick up later, you can certainly do that. Gary, how about a song? We talked about these before we hit record. When It's Our Love That's Lost, that sounds. I don't know. That sounds like such a sad song, but yet
you know what?
It might not be, right?
The song's like, it's sort of a true story. I wrote it a couple years back, and there was a relationship that was a little bit rocky, and it ended up that person I was with really got sick and was in the hospital, and that's when you really start thinking about things. What's more important, Yeah. And, I'm still with that person. So,
okay.
And, it's just giving up pride sometimes. You don't always have to be right in a relationship,
They say, yeah.
Give up the pride and, and really give in, because, some things are worth fighting for. And that's what this song's about. It's out right now. It's the latest single, and it's actually climbed the national charts, on the independent charts. It's been on Nashville radio stations for the last couple weeks, and some other little stations here too, and people were loving it. It's on the AC Top 40. It was hit number 1, and I'm just real proud of this song and the way it's written, and I hope everybody out there likes it.
Okay, well, let's share it with everybody as here we are with Gary Pratt, and When It's Our Love That's Lost. Here it is. song, Gary. Great song. I can tell that comes from your heart, doesn't it?
Yeah, I try to sing with a lot of feeling. You know, I mean, you really, that's one of the main things I try to portray on my songs and when I'm out doing a show.
Yeah.
You know, I give it all out there when I'm doing a show. I let people know that, you know, everybody's life isn't perfect and you know, things, and you have to, you know, overcome things, believe in God, and, you know, try to do the right things for people. And I put that out on stage and give, you know, hopefully give some people some hope.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm about, you know.
That is what we all need to be about. Yeah. I love the word that you said, the word hope there, Gary, because right now, boy, that's what we need. That's what we need. Yeah. There's you know, it's one thing to be depressed, and there are things that can come along daily that kind of bring us down and depress us for a little bit, you know, maybe a day, maybe a couple. But when we make that transition and that terrible transition into hopelessness, that's a whole different story. So that's great.
Well, sometimes you just got to get up in the morning and say, you know, I'm going to be happy today, you know.
That's true.
Even though you might be facing a lot of different things, and I don't want to bring people down, but I just lost my father not too long ago, and
we're sorry.
You know, and it's real tough, you know, for our family and that, and but you know, I find things to be happy, you know, about, and that's what he'd want me to be, you know, and he loved my music, and you know, the music really takes me out of myself too, and or if I'm helping someone, you know, sometimes you got to get out of yourself just to feel better, you know. And I think it's a day decision on everyone's part. Today, I'm going to be happy, or at least I'm going to try to be happy. You got to start somewhere.
A friend of mine likes to say we text each other almost every day, and we'll remind each other to look for the bright spots.
Yeah, and a lot of my songs too, actually, I take some situations that are like negative situations, and I like turning them positive. And that's one of the things I love to do in my music.
That's great. That is awesome. Yeah, turn them positive. So, Gary, what got you into music, and when? Was it something that you started very young?
When I was a young kid, I just loved music. We always had country music playing around our house all the time, and you know, my dad and mom would have parties and stuff, you know. It was just a good time. But I do remember, like, when I was probably about 10 years old, we went to my aunt's house, and my cousin Floyd, he was in a band, and the band was playing that day at the picnic, and you know, I remember all these kids running around and, you know, playing different things out in, you know, in the yard or field or whatever. And they're like, come on. I'm like, no, I got to listen to the band. You know? So I sat there, and I think it was that day I decided, when I grow up, I want to be in a band.
Yeah. So, cool. You know, was guitar your first instrument?
No, you know what? I fool around on the guitar and piano, but my main thing is being a vocalist and singing, and but I do dabble with the piano and guitar. But yeah, those are both two instruments I sort of. But when I'm out on stage, I usually don't play. Yeah. You know, I'll write some things, especially with the piano, and figure out some different things. But you know, melodies sort of come in my head, and but I'm writing and stuff like that. So but that's my main thing is just being a front man and singing, because I like being out there.
So tell us about the band, that, you know, the musicians that you play with you, or do you ever, in a smaller venue, do background tracks?
Some of the larger shows that I do, it's with a 5-piece band, and they are so awesome. Yeah. We just did a show last week. I was actually the headliner for the show at a place called the Lamp Theater, and it was a great show. I got to pick who I wanted to be openers, and when I do shows around the Pittsburgh area, I like to try to pick people that I have a musical history with. Yeah. And it gives like the MC and that something to talk about too. Like, I had my friend Joe Brucker. When we were teenagers, we were in a band together, and then the next artist I had out before me was Ashley Puckett. Have you ever interviewed her?
No, I have not. Oh.
She's with MTS too, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I figured it'd be nice to have something else from MTS Records on the show. And in fact, we're going to be going to Atlanta in August. We're both up for the International Singer-Songwriters Association Awards. So her and her boyfriend, and I think I might take my mom because she's turning 70 or 80. I'm sorry, she's turning 80. Oh gosh. And I think I might take her to the awards, and would be really cool. And then so it just gives people a sort of a background of my history and who I've played with and that. But some of the small shows I'll do with acoustic, or I'll get a couple acoustic players, and or we'll do some background tracks too. It just depends how long the show is and what the situation is.
Yeah, the venue size and things like that. Sure.
But playing with the band and doing a big show is just awesome. We got we got some fairs coming up and some bigger shows. So I'm real excited about that.
Yeah. So when you were about 10, you got interested in the music, and then so when was the first band that you were in?
Oh, I was probably 15, 16.
Okay.
We my parents they helped me find the players, and they were actually players that and we practiced in their basement, and it's always been pretty much country music. I have done some other stuff when I was in college and things like that, but they were sort of I remember we'd pack up the SUV every weekend, and during the week I was going to high school, and on the weekends we were traveling everywhere to do shows.
Very, very
and
cool.
So they've always been so supportive, and probably about 15, and most of the players that were in my bands were usually older. Yeah. Because, like 21 and over, and which was a benefit for me because we got to play some places that if I would have just been with kids my own age, we wouldn't have been able to play half the places I would have played.
They just snuck you in, didn't they? No. Anyway. Yeah. All right. Well, Gary, let's take a quick pause here. Let people know what they're listening to and who, and we will be right back and talk some more, and we're going to get to another song. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more of the NoteSpire Radio Artist Insight right after this.
This podcast and a portion of the programming on WNSMDB NoteSpire Radio are sponsored in part by MTS Management Group, specializing in full-service artist management, publicity and promotions, and social media campaigns. MTS Management is on the cutting edge of today's new music business. To learn more, visit mtsmanagementgroup.com. MTS, where indie artists go for major coverage.
You're listening to another Artist Insight on WNSMDB NoteSpire Radio.
And we are back with Gary Pratt here on the Artist Insight podcast. Gary's sharing, he shared one song with us so far, When It's Our Love That's Lost. Gary, let's get to another song of yours. And then I want to ask you about, we're going to talk about Kate in a few minutes. I think we should probably give her some something, right?
I usually try to because she's dynamite,
Okay, we're gonna. And I said that because we're gonna kind of whet people's appetite here and get them curious about. Okay, all right, who's Kate? Yeah, so you got to stick around for that, folks. All right. So Gary, this song is called "Jump In," and I can only imagine what this is going to be about. So tell us a little bit about "Jump In."
Yeah, it's going to be the next single, and I know the Independent Music Network is going to release that on their summer program they have coming up too. And there's a video out on YouTube that's out about this song, but it's a song I wrote that when I was younger, I was sort of afraid to do a lot of things. I was sort of overprotected, I think, too, but I was afraid of people. I was afraid. I think that's another reason why I went to music, because I was a little bit of a loner, and a lot of times people are afraid to do things in life. And I think that, if God puts something in your heart and you want to do it, even if you're not good at it, but you love it and it makes you feel good, I think you should go for it, and not be afraid or have fears. And I've learned from experience that when you get out of your comfort zone and you're doing something, such as like doing some of these big shows I used to be really, really nervous about, and I started looking at it as a challenge. Mm-hmm. That, if I get out of my comfort zone, I'm going to grow. And that's the only time you can grow is,
that's right.
And that's what this song's about. It's like jumping in, you want to go out with a girl, and you're afraid to ask her,
it's never going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Yeah. So you must just ask her, and you might be nervous doing it.
Yeah.
But, you never know what might happen. And, that's sort of what this song's about. In your dreams, and go for your dreams, go for what you want in life, and don't be afraid to do it. And that's what this song's about.
I love it. Let's play it, folks. Listen to the words. There's a great message in this song that I think somebody out there, maybe more than one somebody, needs to hear. Here's Gary Pratt with Jump In.
Way back there in the woods, we were just some crazy kids having fun any way we could. I was a little scared when we stood up on the ledge, listening to our friends say, yeah, you gotta jump in. You gotta jump in, don't be afraid. Take a leap of faith, yeah, you gotta jump in. Gotta jump in, don't be afraid. Take a leap of faith, yeah, you gotta jump in. You only got one life to live, so give each day your best. You gotta jump in. You gotta jump in. Back in our high school days, those memories will last. I admit that I was scared when I asked you to the dance, but you said yes, and I won't forget when we had our first kiss. My pounding heart was telling me, yeah, you gotta jump in. You gotta jump in, don't be afraid. Take a leap of faith, yeah, you gotta jump in. You gotta jump in, don't be afraid. Take a leap of faith, yeah, you gotta jump in. You only got one life to live, so give each day your best. You gotta jump in. You gotta jump in. Yeah. Now we're standing here with something borrowed, something blue. It don't leave a faith, baby. We're saying I do. Oh, I do. You gotta jump in, don't be afraid. Take a leap of faith, yeah, you gotta jump in. You gotta jump in, don't be afraid. Take a leap of faith, yeah, you gotta jump in. You only got one life to live, so give each day your best. You gotta jump in.
Just do it, right, Gary?
That's right.
Just do it.
We only have one time around on this earth, so.
That is so true. So true. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we don't want to get to the end of our lives and have more things that we wish we had done than Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't look back neither. You know,
That's
you got
right.
to look forward. You know,
always look forward.
There was, I think, a song I heard. That's why the rear view mirror is smaller, and the front and your windshield's.
I just heard that
larger.
somewhere. Did you? You didn't post that on Facebook, did you?
No, I did not.
Okay,
but I know I
somewhere.
heard it. I heard it somewhere recently, and it just popped in my head right now.
Yeah,
so.
that's so true. The mirror is smaller than the windshield. Oh, okay. So here's a question I've never asked anybody, Gary. But you are going to be the first. Do you sing in the shower?
No.
Okay. All right. Then we're going to move right on. Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
No, I don't either.
I sing everywhere else, but I don't sing in the shower.
Okay. I don't either. I don't know. I don't get these people that sing in the shower. Maybe it's those people that only sing in the shower. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. Probably. Oh, okay. So let's talk about Kate, and I'm gonna read this from your website, Gary, just so people can have this. Let's see. Is it Zoller? Zoller. Okay, Kate Zoller.
Yeah, silent. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to read this for you folks. This is from Gary's website. Gary loves having a duet partner and is now sharing the stage with Kate Zoller. They make a great duet couple. In addition to Gary's original and the country music, Kate and Gary have been adding a few musical surprises. I like this to their shows, such as I want to hear this, Gary. Such as your own duet rendition of 8 Days a Week by the Beatles. Yeah. Other new selections include a few top 40 dance songs and some contemporary Christian music. Kate has always wanted to be that entertainer up on that stage, and she's proving that she has the talent to do it. She is an amazing person, a fantastic singer and harmonizer. That's a great thing. And an experienced piano player as well. She's currently the minister of music for the Manor Evangelical Presbyterian Church, and you guys are going to be adding her piano talents to your show in the near future, or have you done that already?
We're at practice tonight.
Sweet.
So yeah,
Sweet.
Yeah, we're working on it. But Kate she's so awesome. She's an awesome person. I had another girl singer a while back, and her and her husband moved, and I was like, okay, I don't think I want to get another singer. I just, you got to teach everybody everything. My mom and dad were going to church, and they said, well, you got to check out Kate. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this, Yeah. And my dad's like, you should, people don't want to listen to you all night long.
Yeah. Give them some variety. Come on.
Yeah. So I said, okay. And, it was rough at first because Kate never sang with a band or did shows. Yeah. And I tell you what, she is just absolutely awesome. We did probably the second biggest show that she did with me was last Thursday. Mm-hmm. And it was with the full band and everything. And she's just absolutely awesome. And we're getting, and she's into the Christian music, right? And we're writing a couple of things together. Christian, together. Yeah. And so it's so beneficial to both of us. And when you have someone like her that's supporting me too, not just on stage, and it's not like she wants all the limelight or I want all the limelight. It's like we're in this together. Let's see how it's going to work. Right. And as far as duets, I've always loved doing duets. That's why and I like the sound of a male and female voice together. Yeah, me too. You don't even need like all these other voices behind you. It just has a certain sound. And that's true. We're actually finding our sound now, which is really cool. Yeah. She's not on the current album, but probably on a future album. Of course, I'll have her. She's awesome, and I can't say enough about her. Were you kind of looking for a female vocalist, or I sort of gave up on it. I just didn't think I wanted to. I just do my own thing, But I listened to my parents and. Which I usually do. You do now, right? At this age, okay. But and I said, okay, we'll try it out. And then I knew she did play piano because she actually was teaching my nephew piano.
Okay.
And that's sort of how they, with the church too, they got to know her pretty well.
Okay.
And I'm glad it worked out the way it did. I mean, she loves God, and we believe everything happens for a reason. Right. And we believe we're supposed to be doing this together.
Awesome. Yeah. Please make a note to if and when you get some contemporary Christian songs recorded, make sure you and we're going to feature some of your music as well, of course, on NoteSpire Radio. But we certainly want songs from you and Kate. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to be posting a lot of different things on Facebook, like my webpage. You can go to almost any site and see my music or YouTube or whatever. But I haven't put anything on from the last show that Kate was on, but she really, showed what she can do on these last two shows. So I'll be posting that. Yeah. Awesome. Gary, what the whole pandemic thing? Let's look me back over that. I wanted to ask, I typically ask all of the artists that we interview, what changed? How did that change things for you? And now that we seem to be coming out of it, how are things going back to the way they used to be, or are they different and will never be the same?
Well,
hard question.
I think it's going back. No. It's actually an easy question. First of all, the pandemic really did not affect me music-wise or playing-wise, because that's when we were recording the album. And I put all my energy and all my time into that. Now, going to the studio was a little weird because, with the mask and everything, but we made it work. And, of course, I hung out with those guys, I don't know how many days a week, and so we were pretty much always together. Yeah. But it was actually a benefit for me because I had more time, to dedicate to the album. Mm-hmm. So that was fine with me. Now, as far as how it affected like maybe some concerts and that, now I see it's back, it's sort of back where it was. Okay. But I also see, not that my concert wasn't sold out the other night, because it was, but I was worried at first because it seems people are waiting longer to get tickets to different things. I don't think they're like getting them right away. I don't know. It just seems that way. I've talked to a couple different theaters, and people sometimes seem to be waiting to get their tickets, more of a last minute type thing. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's what it seems like around here, and that's what I've been told by some theater managers and that. Yeah. So I know people are probably watching their money with everything that's going on and the gas prices and etc. But people are still going out, and there's a lot of events and festivals that are free too. So it just depends on what the situation is too. There,
That's true. But you think, although they're waiting longer, maybe to decide that they're going to go to that concert or whatever, you think things are opening up and people are starting to go again?
Yeah. I just I got on the horn last night, and I found out Casting Crowns are coming to Pittsburgh, and I want to see them. So, and Mike Stover, he said he was going. I said, hey, I want to get tickets. So
okay,
he's going to be there. I'm going to be there. I'm not sure where he's sitting at, but I did get tickets last night. So
that's
I'm ahead of most people.
they were up in where were they? Were they in Glens Falls, my hometown up there in New York? I think my daughter and her husband went to see them. They were within the last month or so. They were up there. So I guess they're kind of making a tour around. Yeah.
I listen to all kinds of music, Christian, rock. Mm-hmm. I'll listen to jazz, classical, anything. But so I'm always looking at concerts. Right.
That leads me into a good question. So would you classify yourself or categorize yourself as basically a country musician? But is there other types of songs that you like to
You know, I would say countries. You know, that's where my heart is. That's what I do most. I've written a couple top 40 type songs and Christian songs too. But that's where those three. But country is definitely number one.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, was your dad a musician?
My dad was not a musician till he turned 50.
Okay. All right. That's cool.
He started playing guitar. But, I mean, there was always music. There was always music everywhere in our house. We had one of those old jukeboxes with the 45s in it.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah. In fact, my mom still has that.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. I remember, we used to try to figure out where she was going to get 45s at, because they don't make them,
Right.
But so I mean, there was always our house was pretty lively, and all the neighborhood kids would be there, but what I used to do is I would produce shows when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, before the band days, I would I would get neighborhood kids and relatives, kids, cousins and that, and we would put on a show, and we would just use, not really background tracks. We would use records or, tapes, whatever, and CDs, whatever. And we just sing along with them. But I had a way of taking out a lot of the highs and stuff on those. I mean, we were kids,
Right.
But we had a PA system, and all the neighborhood would come, and all the family would bring potluck. Everybody brought a dinner, and we would put our show on.
Oh, cool!
But I even had them sign contracts that they would be.
You were into it early.
I was serious.
Wow! You said you wanted to be a musician when you grew up, and boy, you certainly.
That's right. I guess you could say I was a mini producer.
Yeah, that was cool. I remember early on. I don't know if I was still a teenager or whatever, but I used to listen to the radio, and of course, we all did. And I used to think I'd like to be a DJ. I'd like to be a DJ. And I remember I still got the cassette tape where I took a couple of tape decks and I'd play one, and I'd recorded some of the little station IDs from our local station, put them on tape, and then I'd use all these tape decks, and I'd pretend I was a DJ and it was cool.
Yeah,
and never thinking
that.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, never thinking that I would actually get a chance to be on the radio someday. Whoa. Anyway,
music's always fascinating, all phases of it. So
it is. Yeah. So what do you wish that you had known? Here's a question I like to ask people. What do you wish that you had known when you first started out in music?
I would say to be more assertive and not be afraid. Like when I was in Nashville, I was like, I don't know. You get a lot of rejection in that, but I mean, you just got to keep persistent. I think I would have put myself out there a little bit more. Because just like that song Jump In, right. I think I'd have been a little bit more assertive and a little bit more not afraid to talk to people and that type of thing. But I was young,
Sure.
But I think if I had to go back, I would change that. I'd be more assertive and more confident.
Right.
In my music. And, confidence, you get that through validation of, what's happening with my music now. It's all validating everything that I've always done,
Yes.
The different awards. I got Songwriter of the Year last year.
Yep.
International Singer-Songwriters Association. And, that just validates what I'm doing. And I think, like I said, if I would have been more assertive and more confident in what I was doing, especially when I was in Nashville, because I had a lot of breaks in Nashville, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And it could have been, maybe I wasn't ready. That's what I often think, I wasn't ready for that situation. God didn't have me ready for that yet, but now I am. And I'm happy where I'm at right now. I'm living what I like to do. People are hearing my music, and a lot of that's due to today's technology. Yeah,
that's true.
You don't have to really be in Nashville for people to hear your music and like it. And
yep.
I'm having interviews all over the world, so I'm happy where I'm at right now, and that's good.
Yeah, it is good, and it's good advice for somebody just starting out. Yeah, is to be a little more assertive, be a little more confident in yourself. Not to take pride in the wrong way, but to be assertive, to be confident, to be
not only that, Paul. It's like you have to. I've learned that you have to run your own race. Like even in my retail business, my floral business here, I can't worry about what Joe's doing down the road here.
Yeah, with
his shop and who's going in there and who's not. I just have to concentrate on being the best that I can be in what I'm doing, and that's the same way with music.
Yeah,
you run your own race because you're actually the only one in your own race because you have to. You'll get to where you're going to get as you learn and you progress. And I've learned not to look at other people. There's always going to be other people that's prettier, more talented, et cetera, but that don't really mean
no.
anything,
we don't want to get. That's a comparison trap, and there's
exactly, and that's one advice I have for young artists too. Run your own race.
Right, amen. Gary, let's take a quick pause and come back, and we've got another song here that's got a very, I'm going to say touching, very meaningful story behind it. And we'll have you share that in just a moment. Friends, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more of the NoteSpire Radio Artist Insight right after this. You're listening to another Artist Insight on WNSMDB NoteSpire Radio.
And we're back with Gary Pratt, having a fascinating chat with Gary here about his music and a lot of great things that is going on. And Gary, I liked the fact that you said that you're happy where you're at, but we don't want to leave it right there because there's a lot of people listening that are saying, "Oh, that's great for him." But I'm not happy where I'm at. But what we just talked about is, run your own race. I love the way you said that. And people will be true to themselves, whether it's music or anything else. Be true to yourself. Be true to to the gifts that God has given you, and don't compare to somebody else. Be the best you that you can be. You're going to be there too. And it's not about circumstances, is it, Gary? It's not about what you have or what you don't have, where you're at, where you're not at, right?
No, it's definitely not about circumstances because, there's a lot of things, in my life that, they're not where I want them to be. But, you have to get up and still, live life. You have to live life because we only have one life to live.
That is so true.
And, like I said earlier, my father passed a couple months ago. And, it's tough. And I try to look at the good side of that too. And I think that's a main ticket for a lot of people. You have to look at, there has to be some kind of bright side to everything that happens. I'm not happy my father passed away. I'm not happy he got sick, but I am grateful that I had the time to spend with him.
Right.
I knew that, he was sick. I got time to say goodbye. We got time to go over memories. I had time to help take care of him. And to me, that's a blessing because my brother passed away too. I don't want to be downer on everyone, but I'm just telling you, my life's not perfect either.
Yeah, you've been through some stuff.
He passed away in the middle of the night. He was sleeping, had a heart attack, and he passed away.
Oh my goodness.
And I didn't get to say goodbye to him, And so when I look at my father passing away, it was a blessing that I had time to say goodbye. And he was never in pain either. And that was a blessing. So, that's not a good situation, but that's the bright side,
Yep.
of compare, to what we went through with my brother. And that's how this whole album got started, was because of my brother.
Of your brother.
I was actually in the studio in the middle of July recording a Christmas album. And
that's when you do them.
And I just had this idea to do an album and dedicate it in his name. And, we worked so hard on it. I mean, my producer, Brian Cole, the engineer and owner of Tonic Studios, and a wonderful musician, Adam Ernest, who's in a group called After Midtown. They signed with Sony, and they're traveling with, some really big names right now, which is awesome. I'm so proud of him. Young, talented guy. He did most of the instruments on my album. So if you listen to some of the songs, he did most of everything. Except for the piano and the steel player. Still, he didn't do that. Talented guy. Helped me rearrange some songs, to make them sound better and stuff like that. But we were in the studio, and I loved how the songs were coming out. And, I wanted to do an album that usually I do an album. It's songs that I wrote all myself.
Yes.
And this time I wanted to do it different. I said, I want some other writers on there, some known writers. So we have like Reba McEntire's niece on the album, who co-wrote a song You Can Drink a Beer To.
Okay. And
then we have a couple other writers on there. But the album, we were putting it together. I loved the way it sounded, and I was real happy with that. But something wasn't right with it, because it didn't seem like, how can I dedicate this album to my brother? It didn't feel right. So I didn't want it just to be like, how people sign a book and they said, or they dedicate a book to someone, and it has nothing to do with that person.
Right.
I wanted it to be about life, and it wasn't coming together. And my producer brought this song in called Something Worth Remembering. And it was written by Tony Arata. Now, Tony, he wrote The Dance for Garth Brooks. And when Brian brought that song in, I have a song here from Tony Arata, and I went, Tony Arata, and I knew of him, and I knew this, what other things he's written too. And I said, "You're kidding me." He goes, "No." He goes, "You want to listen to it?" Because he knew I was having trouble. Something wasn't feeling right to me. And he played this song, and as soon as he played it, it reminded me of my brother. It reminded me, some of my life. And it was like the glue I needed for that album. And I just think it was a godsend, because once I heard that song in the studio, I knew what song was going to be first on the album. I knew what song was going to be last. And all the other ones just fell into place. Wow. And the album's it's like a story. It's about life. It's about ups and downs. It's about having fun, with your friends. It's about, changing things in your life. If you're not happy with something in your life, you can change it. If you have the means to do it, you can change it. Be it an addiction, be it anything, a situation, those kind of things, you can change in your life. And, I'm proud of people that do that. Yeah. And this album, it's just really been a grieving process too.
Yes,
it's helped me. It's helped my parents and my mom. And I have another brother too and a nephew. But it also has been helpful in that situation and in that process. So that's sort of how the album came about. So
great.
Life can't always be roses, but you have to at least get up and do the best you can.
This is true, and boy, you've put a great project here together. So, friends, the recording project, this new project, is called Something Worth Remembering, and we're going to share the title song right now. And again, this song, the whole project, right, is dedicated to your brother, but especially this song, which I like what you said, Gary, is the glue that kind of helps it focus all together. So. All right, let's share this. Something Worth Remembering. Here's Gary Pratt.
Holidays are giving one at a time, minute in by minute, line by line. And light the sun in evening till the sun and morning light. Our days will fade or shine. The only thing I know is that our days will come and go. So let's do our best to somewhere in between and do something worth remembering. Do something worth remembering. So don't you ever give up and run off and hide, and never face the wars that rage inside. You can rise above it and forgive all that is past, and do something worth remembering at last. The only thing I know is that our days will come and go. So let's do our best to somewhere in between and do something worth remembering. Do something worth remembering. We always find a room somehow for a million things that should have been forgotten by now. The only thing I know is that our days will come and go. So let's do our best to somewhere in between and do something worth remembering. And do something worth remembering. Do something worth remembering. You do something worth remembering. Something worth remembering.
Well, I think, Gary, that song is going to touch people in many ways because it seems like everybody could, I think we all can relate to something in that song or relate to it.
Yes.
Yeah, to an experience. Yep. What was your brother's name?
Pardon me?
What was your brother's name?
Dennis.
Dennis. Okay. I was looking on the website here. Yeah. Wow. So, friends, look for that. That is coming out. So we've got the title song. Help me out, Gary. I got to move backwards here a little bit. The title, one song has been released already on that from this album.
Actually, we've had 3 releases so far. We've had "Song You Can Drink a Beer To," and we've had "Country to the Bone."
Yeah.
And we've had "When It's Our Love, It's Lost," and the next one's going to be "Jump In."
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we're not done yet, but I just want to remind you folks that you can find Gary's music, GaryPrattMusic.com, Gary, Gary, Pratt, Prattmusic.com. Gary, in our first final minutes here together, some encouragement. We've already touched on a couple of these things, but maybe some encouragement. Yeah, for other ones that are coming along behind. We've talked about comparison trap. We've talked about discouragement. What's something that you think that you've, you don't think, you know that you've learned or that you're learning, because I think it's a continuous experience, a process for us, that maybe you'd like to share with others that are coming along behind you?
I think I'm going to go with what I'm learning, and I think it's more learning about myself that maybe I can share, with people and hopefully help somebody. But like I had touched on earlier, is about, looking at things as a challenge, instead of being afraid of them. Like I said, the other night, sat on Thursday, someone asked me if I was nervous, and you know what? I can't even remember being nervous going out on the stage, that would have been like the first time ever in my life.
Really?
But I think so.
Okay.
I've been pushing myself, like I said, to do things that I'm not comfortable with.
Yeah.
And I think I'm growing in, by doing that. I used to be really, really nervous. Like, I could get up and sing in front of people, but talk, I couldn't.
Yes.
I was just like, people said, well, you sing, but it's two completely different things.
Oh,
if I had to get up and do it. Yeah. I had to do a presentation or something like that. I'd be like really, out of my mind and nervous and everything. But, if something came up now for me to MC a show or introduce people or do a small speech, I would look at it as a challenge. Mm-hmm. And I think it could be anything in life. It could be something small, or, something that's a really, really big deal, But, I guess you got to start small and work your way up. But I really look at something now, hey, you're not going to beat me. This is a challenge.
A challenge instead of an obstacle.
Yeah. And I think if people look at things, because we're tough people, mm-hmm. Especially, musicians are pretty tough. And, I think that if we look at things that way, we'd be more, not productive, but successful.
Okay. Right.
In growing personally and maybe even in music.
Yeah. Good point. Very good point. I was just going to add that overcoming those is each one helps us to grow. Each challenge that we face, right? It helps us to grow, and the next time we face that same thing or something different, it's a little easier. Like you said, to get up on stage and just sing, but don't ask me to talk. I'm not going to say anything.
I have a habit now. I start talking and I don't shut up.
That's what my wife tells me. She said, people want to hear you sing. I said, okay, all right.
I'm up on stage and it's like, I don't ramble on, but I probably could, but I know on some of these interviews. Well, for instance, when I first started doing interviews for MTS, I was like, oh God, I don't know if I can do this, And now it's like I look forward to it.
Oh, you're a natural. Not me. I'm the one that's nervous because I'm not a professional interviewer by any stretch of the imagination. But I do like to talk to musicians. So if let's hit record and chat for a while. So,
anyway. Your job is to make us feel comfortable.
Yeah,
and you do.
Oh, thank you. All right. Well, Gary, tell everybody where they can find you and your music, and maybe just a little bit quickly about what's coming up next.
Okay. Of course, as you mentioned, the website www.garyprattmusic.com. Okay. You can find all the links to all the music, to Facebook, to Spotify, Amazon Music. Yeah. You'll see interviews there, videos, a lot of pictures, and I just updated it this past Sunday, actually. So there's a new schedule up there.
Great website, by the way.
Thank you. I did that myself too.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I always wonder what people think about that.
Yeah, no, it's great.
But you can get all the sites there and find out so many things and see, so many interviews. There's some Zoom interviews and reviews on the album too. Yeah. So there's a lot on that site, but it'll take you everywhere. What's going on with my music, and join me on Gary Pratt Fans on Facebook. And if you like my music, hit me up and tell me, send me an email. My email address is on there. And, or if there's something I can help you with, let me know. I'd be happy to try to help, especially the younger people. If they have a question or something, I'd be happy to see what I can say to help them out. As far as what's coming up, I have a lot of different gigs coming up. That like we have the Westmoreland Fair, we have Indiana Fair. Those are two things that's around here that's pretty major, and that'll be a full band, gig, which I'm looking forward to so much.
Very good.
There's a couple gigs down in Florida. That's more acoustic.
Okay.
I have some coming up second week of July down in Pompano Beach, and then I have some down there in October and beginning of November. And I'll be traveling to Atlanta during the second week of August for the International Singer-Songwriters Association.
So
I'm
cool.
I'm up for 5 awards. So
good luck with that. Yeah.
I'm excited about going there. So those are some of the things that are coming up.
Yeah. Awesome. Great stuff. Friends, do please look up GaryPrattMusic.com. Well, Gary, thank you. Our time is just about up, so I want to thank you for being with us. You've shared so much with us, and great music, by the way, great website. He's got a Christmas album, friends, Angels in the Snow. You want to check that out. It's on his website. We're going to make sure we get a copy of that, Gary, so when we, next December, we're going to get that on NoteSpire Radio.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah,
definitely. Definitely. Yeah. And keep in touch with us. And maybe, there's a lot of stuff here, Gary, that we haven't even touched on. So, let's do this. Let's do this again down the road and catch up with what's going on.
I appreciate it, Paul. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
You're very
opportunity, welcome. And, all you folks out there, thank you for listening.
Okay, Gary. God bless you and yours. We'll talk to you again soon. Till then, take care.
All right. God bless. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to NoteSpire Radio Artist Insight. We hope you've enjoyed the program today. And join us next time when we again bring you a unique look into the lives, music, and ministries of Christian artists. Here on NoteSpire Radio Artist Insight.